Welcome to our podcast where we look for opportunities in our life to see a beautiful view. I'm Candy.
And I'm Paul, the Tool Man Sinar. If you haven't already, I would love to invite you to check out our YouTube channel. If you enjoy listening to the Beautiful View podcast, then you will love watching it in video form.
Yes, I think it's so much fun that we can share photos and video on YouTube to show exactly what we're talking about. Be sure to subscribe, though. Click the little bell notification icon, and that way you won't miss an episode.
We look forward to sharing with you today, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going to. Well, I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you.
So what's new this week?
Well, we took our You and Me Day to Decorah, Iowa, and spent the day there. It was kind of a cold day.
It was,
but
yeah,
weather
it was
nice.
a little gloomy, but it was fine. It was a lot of fun.
It
yeah.
was.
So we visited the Norwegian American Museum there in Decorah.
We did.
It was really interesting. I can't say I really knew a whole lot of history about Norwegian
Immigrants, no.
So
No,
yeah, it was really fascinating.
it was.
And we checked out a campground that some of our friends stay at usually every year, and
For a future camping trip,
yeah,
hopefully.
so maybe we can coordinate with them
Yeah,
and get that going later on.
yeah.
And found a place to eat lunch at Toppling Goliath Brewery.
Which is a great place to go. The pizza was amazing, wasn't
It
it?
was. I don't know,
Really
the
good.
crust on it and the sauce. It was just, it was really good.
Huge choice of beers. I mean, there's like, I don't know, a ton of different IPAs, some stouts. It was just really,
was
really
good.
good. Yeah. And if you want to find out more about this brewery, you can go to our show notes. We provided a link right there.
And then we kind of wrapped up our time. We roamed around the little downtown area, which was really cute. Had a bunch of shops
Yeah,
and
looked in the shops. There was a gnome store.
oh, there was a gnome store. It was something. It was a really happy little store. Yeah, just some great little stops there in Decorah, Iowa.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
lot of fun.
Yeah. This weekend, we
And
have...
this weekend, Tyler is doing a fundraiser to raise money for Boy Scout camp.
Yes.
And we're making coffee cakes. We usually do this when we're in Texas, but since
we
we're
do.
not going to be in Texas until later, we're trying it in Iowa this year, and Iowans did not disappoint.
No, you guys have really, really shown up for this, and Tyler is just over the moon about it.
He is. I think we have 36 signed up so far.
Gosh,
We'll be
yeah.
making 36 coffee cakes, and this recipe is like my great grandmother's original recipe. Everything from scratch. I mean, from the yeast, letting the dough rise, everything. And Tyler is really good at making them, actually.
He is. He enjoys doing that. So that's an excellent way for him to raise money for camp.
So, okay, well, let's jump in.
Yes.
We are calling today's episode Tool Time.
Now, this is my kind of episode. So there's a tool for everything. Sometimes you can get by with cheap tools. Sometimes you need quality tools. And sometimes you just have to get creative and make your own homemade tools.
I knew you would get excited about this one. And of course, with every tool, there's a tool tale.
Oh, gosh.
Those are never boring.
Is that a mom joke? I mean, there's a dad joke, but is that a mom joke?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
You have always had a pretty good selection of tools.
Yes.
And they really played an important role in keeping us on the road when we lived full-time in the RV.
Yeah.
We found out pretty early on living that lifestyle that we were going to have to learn a lot. We were going to have to stay on top of maintenance and do our own repairs. Do you consider yourself a handyman?
Well, a handyman, yes, but by no means a professional. And if you're like in the trades and you are a professional. There's plenty to make fun of me about, and feel free. So, but with YouTube University and with sheer will and determination, I've found ways to get anything done.
Yes.
In the end.
Yes, in the end.
But it often involves bloody knuckles, fake curse words, at least 3 to 4 visits to the hardware store in town, and a lot of head scratching.
Yeah, absolutely. Our kids, when they were little, they used to always say, Daddy can fix anything.
I taught them well.
And that's pretty close to being true, too, in the end. Unfortunately, though, it seems like we don't know that things need to be fixed sometimes until it's gone terribly wrong.
Yes.
I guess School of Hard Knocks.
Yes, it is. And as we've gone along and these disasters have occurred, that's the way we've accumulated tools.
Yes.
So every tool that we've purchased is for a reason.
Absolutely,
So,
we have. So let's talk about some of these tools and the tool tales that go along with them.
I like that.
Why in the world do you have a mangled fork? Is this a dingle hopper from The Little Mermaid?
Well, actually, it is from Grandma's kitchen. So, sorry, Mom.
Sorry.
This was something that was necessary like early on. So basically, we drive a 3/4-ton diesel truck, and 3/4-ton diesel trucks, they require the fuel filter to be changed on a regular basis. So about every 7,000 miles or so, we have to change the fuel filter. And on our Chevy, 3/4-ton, there is a trim piece that goes around the inside of the wheel arch, a plastic trim piece which keeps everything above it protected from, in Iowa, the salt, everything, right?
All of the things, yeah.
And that thing is held in by a bunch of little screws, one bolt, and then a bunch of these plastic thingamajiggers.
Little clips or something, right? That kind of...
So they have kind of like a cap head to them that you have to pop off first, and then you can pull the whole thing out. So it's like pop off the cap, slide this up, behind the head, and pull it out. And when we first started on the road and we first did our first fuel filter change, of course, Tyler and I made all kinds of mistakes. And we kind of mangled a lot of those plastic clips trying to get them out with a screwdriver.
Oh, yeah.
So I did some head scratching.
Yeah.
And went into Grandma's kitchen and found a fork, which we have now had for 10 years, I guess. So that's where it is, Grandma. And bent in the middle of it right here, and that's great for just sliding up in there
and popping those little bad boys out.
Yeah. And actually, later on, we had to replace a bunch of those plastic clips because they really are cheesy and they don't last. So we went onto Amazon and found a good supply of different sizes of those. And, like when you go on Amazon, you get these are often purchased together. And there is an actual real
tool for it.
With a little doohickey fork thing.
It has the fork bent thing already.
Right. And it's got a little angle on it.
Yeah.
So you can actually pop it off like that. So there's an actual tool. And we now own the real tool.
Aren't you fancy?
So, Grandma, if you want your fork back...
We'll bring it back.
We don't need it anymore. So, there you go. So, what's next?
Okay. So, I've got...
Ooh, that looks
thing
dangerous.
With teeth. And,
yeah.
Where's the stud finder?
Well, I went to look for it, and I couldn't find the stud finder.
Oh, no. Well, good thing your backup's right here.
Wow. So, it's kind of a dangerous piece of kit.
Yeah, I remember the very first time that we used that on our RV.
Yeah.
It was very early on when we, just soon after we got our RV.
Yeah.
And you cut a 4-inch hole in the side of our RV.
I had to.
I know, but it was still very nerve-wracking.
For both of us, it was.
For both of us, yes.
It's kind of like a, how can we describe this? Like a metal dish with a whole bunch of teeth on the front. You put it onto a cordless drill. And on our RV, there's actually a place in the front closet for a washing machine dryer. And so you have to have the 4-inch vent pipe going to the outside for the dryer.
Because it's vented. It's the vented version.
And they provide you with, like, there's a removable panel on the inside of the closet. Take that off. And then they provide you with the hole on the inside, but they leave it up to you to put the hole on the outside.
Yes.
So I had to kind of drill through the wall, hoping it was going to be okay, because the RV was brand new at this point.
Yes, it was.
So I had to drill a small hole through the wall, roughly in the middle of where that was going to be.
I couldn't watch.
And then I had to drill from the outside back in again with this 4-inch hole saw.
Yes.
And pop out the piece of wall. And then put like a vent in there.
Yep.
And then
I don't think about it now, but when it was happening, that was a little scary. And that's not the only hole that you cut in the wall of the RV.
No, I actually ended up cutting 3 holes.
You did.
In the wall of the RV. The other holes were so hole number 2. There is a vent pipe that comes out the back of our little portable air conditioning unit, which we added to the bunk room because it just simply was still getting too hot in there. So we added one of those portable freestanding AC units, and it has a vent pipe too. So we had to cut a hole in the bunk that Tyler was not using, place the portable air conditioner in that bunk, and then vent it to the outside through the hole. So that was hole number 2.
Yep.
Then Tyler decided he wanted to move from the top bunk to the bottom bunk.
It was a little bigger. As he grew, that was kind of necessary.
So then I had to drill another hole in the same place in the top bunk.
Yes.
And move the portable air conditioner up to that bunk. So 3 total holes.
3.
Yeah. And the thing about that is that obviously you want to miss the frame in the wall.
Yeah.
And the frame on our RV is an aluminum frame, so that would be really bad if you hit that. And so I was trying to figure out, that's where the stud finder came in, my long lost stud finder that's probably never going to be found. Anyway.
It's probably at a campground somewhere.
Probably. So at first I was trying to find the aluminum frame with the stud finder, and that wasn't working real well because it kind of, I think the metal just disperses the signal or something. But then one morning I went outside on a kind of a cool morning, and it was kind of a lot of moisture in the air. And the dew on the side of the RV showed up the metal frame of the whole side of the RV.
It does. You can see exactly where the lines are.
Every metal bar is. So I took a picture of that, and that gave me a really good idea of where the frame was.
Right.
So I knew that I could drill holes in the right spots.
Yeah.
So now if we want any more 4-inch holes in the side of the RV, I know exactly where to... Oh, okay.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, cool.
Okay, so talking about the washer-dryer combo, that leads us to the next thing. So we have here this really long screwdriver, like the longest screwdriver I have ever seen.
It's ridiculous.
And a headlamp.
Now, that is, bright, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
you want to tell us what you do with those?
All right. So the washing machine dryer combo unit, we love it.
Yes.
I mean,
gosh. Couldn't do well, it definitely made full-time RV living so much easier.
Yes, it did.
So much easier.
So much easier. Yeah, we constantly keep that thing running. It doesn't do a lot of clothes at a time.
Right.
Which is why we have to keep it running. But for a family of 4, we had to have it.
Yeah.
But every now and again, it wouldn't dry.
Right.
Yeah. And we were trying to figure out why that was. And eventually kind of came to the conclusion that the thing gets blocked regularly.
It does, yeah.
So
though it's vented, it's still with dog hair and lint and stuff, it still gets blocked sometimes.
It gets blocked. And there's this like little rubber pipe that does a sharp turn up and a sharp turn back again, and stuff gets caught in that.
Yeah.
So every now and again, we have to pull out that washing machine dryer in that tiny closet with, at the time, with all of our clothes in it.
Right. Yeah.
And we had to get into that rubber pipe, remove the rubber pipe, clean it out, and put it back in again.
Yep.
And the only way to do that, because it's held on with a hose clamp, is to wear the headlamp and look down through the top and reach down in there with this long screwdriver and sort of like I have to cram my hands up behind there and line it up just right, and then very carefully and slowly and patiently unscrew that hose clamp to the point where we can pull the whole thing off.
You have to be a little bit of a contortionist.
Yeah, and
to do that.
that's a bloody knuckle job for sure. Excuse the English curse words. So so that's that.
Okay, so next up, let's see here. What have we
What you got? Your table of goodies over there.
Oh, right here.
Right there.
Let's see. So this one,
Yes.
we've got a level. I know what that is.
You know what that is. Right. So this is one of our levels. We have a longer one, which we used to use originally to level up the RV. We use a shorter one now because it's just easier to carry around with us. So whenever we get to an RV site, one of the first things that we do is level up the RV front to back and side to side. And we don't have an automatic leveling system
Right.
on our RV. There's a lot of RVs that have like 6 hydraulic jacks that come down and does all this little dance and jiggles around and kind of...
It's kind of fancy, but it also
Yeah.
makes me nervous because what if something goes wrong?
Right, you have to press the button and stand back, and I just don't like that idea.
What if it gets confused?
Well, that can definitely happen. So we manually level out our RV. Sometimes that means we have to pull up on blocks on one side with the with the tires.
Yeah,
on
we
one
have
side.
a little bubble level, a sticky bubble
Yes.
level on the side of the RV, so we can tell
Yes.
front to back if we're level.
So at first we used to use a level like this on the floor inside the RV to see whether we got it right, and I'd put this on the front tongue as well to kind of get the side to side. That was kind of a pain. So we found these little stick-on bubble levels.
yeah.
And so you get the RV, the first time you use them, you get the RV nice and level using this one here. And then you got like a peel and stick on the back of the bubble levels. And then you sort of like make sure it's leveled up, stick it one on the front, one on the side. And now every time we go out, we just have
peasy.
to, we just look on those bubble levels and it works just great.
Yeah. Another thing that we use the levels for is when we're setting up our sewer system.
Our sewagery.
Our sewagery. Yeah. So we have lots of, sewer pipes. And if, unfortunately, if they're not at the right angle, then they
it
don't drain very
flows
well.
the wrong way. So you have to use a level to make sure that all of your pipes... there's lots of ways to do sewer pipes. You can get this kind of like snake contraption thing that
They call it a slinky, I think.
slinky or whatever, and that naturally goes from top to bottom. They're fine, but there's often places where you've really got to get that angle just right in order to get everything to your sewer connection. One of our favorite state parks in Texas, close to the Permian Basin, is the Davis Mountain State Park. We like that one because you're up at a little bit of an altitude, so the temperature's a little cooler.
Yes.
And it's one of the few state parks that has full hookups.
Yes.
Which is really nice.
It's wonderful, yes.
So I think it was the first time we went there. We hadn't had the RV very long, and we noticed this one guy who had set up his sewer pipes on pieces of guttering, plastic guttering. And so at the time, we had all of our sewer pipes in a tub, which is not, they're not the cleanest of things, so that wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
But I took a picture of that. I was like, man, that's good. Then we went back there again and noticed a couple of other people had done the same thing. So everybody was noticing this genius guy with his guttering.
Yep.
And the thing about our RV and with most larger RVs is that you have 2 sewer hookups.
Yes.
So we have
5 total tanks.
5 waste tanks.
5 waste tanks, yes.
And so just for convenience sake, it's a good idea to have both of those hooked up to your one sewer So you have to kind of have this Y arrangement, and then and everything has to flow downhill, hence the spirit level. And so if you lay out the flexible hoses on the guttering, it keeps them nice and flat, and also provides you with a way of storing your sewer pipes under the skirt of the RV.
Because they
fit
fit up underneath. They just slide right in. And I think you like attach, is it dog leashes to it? I mean, dog collars to it at some point to snap them in there. Is that what that was?
Yes, I'd forgotten to mention that. So at first we were using bungee straps.
Yes.
And then I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so I permanently mounted 2 dog collars per set of sewer pipes. So all I had to do was slide in the guttering with the sewer pipe.
Yep.
Throw the dog collar over the top and clip them in place.
Yeah.
Which was kind of genius, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, yeah.
It's fabulous. You're so smart. Okay.
Yes. What's next?
So.
Oh, this is an interesting collection of stuff.
A toothbrush, a fly swatter, and an anode rod walked into a bar. Just kidding. I don't really have a joke. It just sounded funny. So
that's great.
All right. So these 3 tools go together to get a job done.
Yes.
What is the job?
Okay. So let me first of all, we're running out of room up here. Let me first of all explain what this thingamajigger is. Because when we first began RVing, we didn't have a clue that this thing existed.
We did not.
It's crusty in its current state. It's just basically a bar of metal, which is some kind of an alloy. And this thing screws into your hot water tank.
Yep.
And I think we've told this story before, but basically we lost our first hot water tank.
Because we didn't know to check
had no
that rod.
Freaking clue what this thing was. So you are supposed to change these regularly. The whole idea of this is like your hot water tank is made of metal. And so if you don't have one of these things in your hot water tank, this anode rod, then the water starts eating away or causing corrosion in the hot water tank itself.
Which creates a hole eventually if it rusts through, which is exactly what happened with our first one.
Yeah, we lost all the hot water out of it into the basement and had all kinds of repairs to do.
Yes.
So so basically, because of that disaster, we learned about our anode rod. And our anode rod corrodes faster, or is the first thing to corrode, over the hot water tank. So if you have this in there, all of the corrosion happens on this instead of your hot water tank. So we have it on our schedule now for about every 6 months while the thing's running. We take this thing out and we check the state of it. Like this one is getting close to needing to be replaced. The one that was in there when we lost our first hot water tank,
it didn't have much of it left.
There was nothing left on it. So anyway, so that's what we have that for. And the next thing in line is one of our little homemade tools. So let me describe this for our audio podcast listeners. It's on the YouTube channel as well, incidentally. So this is a handy dandy toothbrush. Probably, was it one of Tyler's?
I think so. I think it was one of Tyler's old toothbrushes.
Yeah. So in the process of taking out the anode rod, you obviously get a very small hole in the bottom of the hot water tank because you flush the whole thing out. And what you need to do is you need to make sure that you get all of those nasty pieces of corrosion
out of the bottom
out of the
tank.
bottom of the hot water tank, which is all loose. So the first toothbrush we used, we poke it in the hole and then kind of scoop out all of the stuff. And we keep the water flowing through it so that we can scoop it out, scoop it out, and scoop it out until it's clean.
Yep.
However, the first toothbrush, we didn't have this additional attachment on the end of it. And I was in there and I dropped it.
Yes.
Plastic toothbrush in a hot water tank.
In the bottom of the hot water tank.
So there was a few fake curse words there. I couldn't get it out. Then I was talking to you about it, and you made a suggestion.
I did.
Yeah. So what was your suggestion?
My suggestion was, let me go find something that I can grab the brush part of the toothbrush and maybe slide it out So what I found when I went in the house to look for things was a fly swatter.
Yes.
The metal end of the fly swatter was about the right size
Right
that I
here.
could poke it in the hole and very carefully maneuver and scoot the toothbrush around.
So
So
scoop it out like that. So
Yeah.
the wire handle of the fly swatter was perfect.
It was.
And I was a little skeptical at first.
but it worked.
It worked pretty quickly, and I had been messing around with that thing for a long time.
Yep.
So
And that's when the toothbrush got a tail. That's when it
Yes.
got the bungee, because you
So-
can put that around your wrist
yeah,
now.
so you could sort of wrap this one around your wrist, and now I can scoop out stuff from the bottom of the hot water tank with my toothbrush. And I've got this. It's a tarp bungee cord wrapped around my wrist. So if I accidentally let go of it, I don't lose it. I can pick it up and pull the thing out.
Right.
It's kind of like the rope on the high priest's ankles. When he'd go inside the most holy and would do something wrong, and then they'd have to drag the poor
Drag him
guy
out.
out. Yeah. So, but in this case, we have a toothbrush.
Yeah.
So that's the story behind that one.
All right. So up next,
Uh-huh.
we have something that could give a person nightmares. Water leaks.
Yes. In an
so-
RV.
In an RV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have PEX pipe
Yep.
and the PEX pipe tools to
Yeah,
go with.
We do, yep. So PEX pipe. So back in the day, most of your water pipes in a house would be made of copper.
Mm-hmm.
And then, not too long ago, another solution was found. And so this is a piece of plastic pipe. This is obviously a hot water pipe, being red.
Red.
And then you got blue stuff. You can get different colors, like, but blue and red is usually what people use.
Yeah.
So this is a hot water pipe, which I have a little length of it right here, which Tyler actually enjoyed using as well for other purposes.
Yeah, I think he found some scraps of it in the RV and made himself like a little rubber band shooter gun thing or something. I don't remember exactly
I
what
think
it
I
was.
got hit by that at some point.
Yeah, he thought
Yeah.
it was great.
He did think it was very, very great.
It was pretty clever.
So this replaces the need for copper pipe and is in most RVs. And so the great thing about this is it's a lot easier to install than copper pipe if you have the tools, which brings me to this little thing here, which is a little, what would you say that is? Like a clamp thing, little orange plastic clamp thing.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But it has a little like razor blade inside it.
Right inside here, there's a razor blade. So you basically take your pipe to cut it, and you insert it into this, and you spin that thing around, and the blade cuts around the plastic pipe, and that's how you cut to length.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the tools that you have to have right there. And then you put a little metal band around every end that you need to seal up. And then you have this device right here, which basically cinches down on your metal band and seals
That
up
looks
the pipe.
dangerous.
Well, you catch your finger in there, you'll know about it. But these are kind of unique tools to PEX. And so at first I was trying to get away without having to buy these because these things are not cheap.
So why would you need to replace PEX pipe?
Well, there's the thing. This system is very durable.
It is, yes.
It works very well until you move to Iowa or you get into any cold climate.
Yeah.
And then you end up with water freezing in those pipes.
And they expand more than they are supposed to.
And then they split. This stuff doesn't split so much. It's usually the fittings that go in the end because the way these are joined together, one pipe to another, is usually with a plastic coupler or they attach to plastic valves. And that was where we had a little disaster. So our first winter here, there's a couple of different methods to winterizing an RV.
Which we had never done before because we had lived in it through the winter in Texas most of the time. So there was never any need to winterize it.
No,
so
and living in
that
it
was all new.
living in it full time, the water's constantly flowing.
Right.
So it doesn't have time to settle down and freeze.
Right.
So, but when we're here and when we weren't using it, so the first winter we did the method where you put compressed air into the water system and blow out all the
Blow it
water.
all out.
Unfortunately, that didn't get rid of all the water in the toilets.
Right.
So there's a valve for the pedal on a toilet, which allows you to flush.
Right.
And water got caught in there. It expanded and busted.
Yeah.
And so we had to take the thing apart and replace the valve.
Right.
So that was fun.
In the meantime, kind of flooded the RV too. So
So yeah, we were both in there together, and I was like, okay, so can you be in the bathroom, make sure nothing leaks in there when I turn the water on? So you were in the bathroom and like you're hollering at me, it's leaking, it's leaking, it's
turn
leaking.
it off, turn it off. And
I'm
you
like,
panicked and froze.
I froze. I'm like, I'm trying to do what I'm doing. And so anyway, it was a little while before I got to the water and turned it off, and we ended up flooding the RV out a little bit. So
That was fun.
shop vacuum,
Yep.
get it all cleaned up. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. So that's that.
Yeah. So I guess we'll move on to the next thing. So we also repaired replaced actually our main air conditioning unit in the RV
We did.
at one point, and that was something. That was quite a job.
That was a big job. So on our RV, we, in addition to the portable air conditioner that we have, there are 2 rooftop ACs, which one does the main living area, one does our main bedroom.
Right.
And we had over the long months that we spent in Texas overworked the poor rooftop air conditioner.
Yes. Poor air conditioner.
And so eventually it finally gave out
It did.
and would not cool anymore.
Yeah.
And so we had to replace that rooftop air conditioner. So leading up to that, we had priced it out. We were here in Bellevue in our seasonal site. It was before we moved here, obviously.
Yep.
And so we found the highest recommended rooftop air conditioner that we could find. And we got that thing in, like we got it shipped there. And, but the thing was about all of this, as we said before, the roof is 13 feet off the ground.
Right. Yeah.
So how do you get a heavy air conditioning unit off the top of the RV and then get a new one back up
on
there?
top of the RV? Yeah.
So we found the solution, and the solution was you. This lady has muscles. So so obviously getting the old one down off the roof.
Yeah, we used ratchet straps and just kind of lowered it down, I think.
Gravity.
And gravity. Yeah. There's that.
So we had backed up the truck to the side of the RV, lowered the old air conditioning unit down into the bed of the truck.
Yep.
And so you're kind of under there, like
Guiding making sure,
steadying it. I'm
yeah.
up top. We've got a rope around it, that kind of stuff, some ratchet straps and stuff.
Yeah.
And we get that one down. But the new one, of course, like that one is already broken, so we're not
Right.
concerned if that
No.
gets damaged. But the new one is like, there's a lot of delicate parts on an AC unit. You got to be careful. So like we talked about it. We're like, okay, so let's do this in stages. We go from the ground to the bed of the truck. Then we go from the bed of the truck to the roof of a slide, which
Yep.
is probably another foot to 18 inches down from the roof itself. And then we just have to get it up that last foot to 18 inches onto the roof. Surely that'd be,
surely.
do it in stages.
Easy peasy.
So the next stage is to get it on the roof of the slide. And suddenly in the middle of it, you call up to me and you say, let's just do it. And in one heft, she grabs the bottom of the thing and pushes and hauls that thing up onto the roof. And boom, done. And you're just like, there you go.
No power tools needed.
No power tools needed. Good job, sweetheart.
Oh my goodness.
So this has been an interesting and fun episode. but how in the world, Candy, are we going to wrap this up with an encouraging, inspirational word?
Well, okay, so
Yes.
the first thought that came to my mind was the fact that Jesus himself was, in our English language Bibles,
Yes.
it's translated carpenter, but in the original biblical Greek, the word was tekton.
Okay.
And this word's meaning is more of a craftsman, a builder, or a manual laborer.
Huh. Okay. A handyman?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Meaning he could have been a carpenter,
Okay.
but also could have been a stonemason or something similar to that.
Okay.
He likely worked with multiple materials to create things.
Okay. Cool. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
The great news about this is that Jesus, the tekton, is also in the human being repair business. He is constantly working in our lives to repair and heal our broken parts.
Yes, he does. And that is so encouraging to me. One of my very favorite scriptures in the Bible that literally held me together at certain times in my life is Psalm 34:18. It says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed." When life is crushing, when we feel broken beyond repair, Jesus, our tekton, our builder, is there with all of the tools to rescue us and build us back up. We just have to let him.
He always has the right tool for the job, and unlike us, never makes mistakes. Everything has purpose, and that is today's beautiful view.
Yes.
Thank you for listening today. What are we going to talk about next time?
Well, we have a very exciting and a different kind of episode coming your way for this
Yes.
next one. So our family is heading to the Line of Totality for the upcoming solar eclipse on April 8th.
Yep.
So we are going to be recording the next episode from our campsite.
Yes.
We're going to be tent camping. So maybe we'll do a little tour of whatever site we land in and maybe talk about the process of planning the trip, the things that went well, the things that didn't. They're bound to be those things too. And we're going to share about our eclipse experiences, both past and present trip.
Yes.
Because this will actually be our second time in the Line of Totality for the eclipse.
This is so exciting. I can't wait for this. Like, as soon as we went to that last one, it was like, when are we going to get to do this again?
Yeah.
I think it'd be a ton of fun and something a little different for our audience. We actually have a lot of travel coming up over the next few months.
We do.
We're going to do a mini series of episodes, which we are going to call Beautiful View on the Road. It's going to be fun to record from different places along the way.
It absolutely will. If you know of someone who would enjoy this podcast, please point them in our direction. Visit us at Beautiful View Podcast on Facebook or Instagram. Share our posts or share the link to our podcast. Also, now, and this is a really great one to pick up on, you can watch a video recording of our most recent podcast on YouTube, and the link to that is in our show notes.
Yes. Also, we would really appreciate it if you would follow, subscribe to, or leave a review for us on either YouTube or your favorite podcasting platform. These things are completely free for you to do, but it really helps push the Beautiful View podcast up a little further in the algorithms.
Absolutely. And once again, shout out to the Hopeful Few for the catchy theme song on our podcast.
Yes.
You can check out more of their music on Spotify or Apple Music, and the links are in our show notes.
Thank you, Tyler and Kelsey.
Yes.
Yes. If you have questions you would like us to answer or suggestions for things you would like us to talk about in our future podcasts, email us at beautifulviewpod@gmail.com.
And just a reminder, please consider joining the Beautiful View Patreon. This helps us keep the episodes coming, and it helps us cover our costs. Memberships are only $5 a month. Again, the link is in our show notes, and it's also on our social media accounts.
We hope you have a great day, and remember to always keep an eye open for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going too. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you. Yeah, I'd go